Welcome on in to college football tonight here on JJ Sports. As we welcome you on in, this has really been a phenomenal night for a couple of teams here in the Big Ten. I mean, I'm just kidding. It's just Michigan. Michigan absolutely dominant against Iowa tonight, and they deservedly will be in the college football playoff. And the four teams right on your screen will be the four teams represented in the college football playoff. Again, college football tonight here, right here, right now. This is um, a huge night. We thought there would be a ton of chaos, and really, there may not be any chaos. The chaos is really just not there. It's sort of non-existent right now. We know that these are going to be the four teams. There's no doubt about it. So there can be discussions about seeding, about everything. But what took place today was just it all worked out in the end, and that's how it has been really since that first year when an Ohio State team leapfrogged a Baylor, a TCU, and that really ever since that year there has not been the biggest controversy. Yes, there was that year where Washington got in, and many believed that Penn State was deserving of a spot in the college football playoff, but of course, uh, you know, a two-loss team is yet to make the college football playoff, and a two-loss team will not make it this year. So there has been a lot. I mean, you have to give two-loss teams sort of some shot at the playoff, especially if you're playing a conference championship. You're playing an extra game compared to other teams, so it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to stay perfect on the season. But what I think is important to note here for this year is that we put Georgia well above a lot of other teams. We should not have done that. I don't know if Georgia's resume is miles ahead of Cincinnati's. Cincinnati has a better win than Georgia. Georgia, the best team Georgia has beaten on their schedule is Kentucky, which they're barely in the top 25. Uh, I guess Clemson would be the best win. I think Clemson somewhere is in the top 25 as well. So Clemson, Kentucky, and Arkansas. So three top 25 wins, but no top 15 wins. I don't. I think Clemson was around 18 or so last week. But congrats to these four teams. I mean, we're not getting an ACC school. We're going to get two teams from the South and two teams from the Midwest. This is how, and no teams from the out west, no teams from really the central part of the country either. But this is going to be a dogfight. The underdog of this whole playoff will be Cincinnati, of course. We're all going. Is everyone going to root for Cincinnati? I don't know. I don't. I don't know. But we'll have to see. So let's get into the game. Yesterday, there's the Pac-12 championship. Utah just dominated. They were absolutely dominant. Congrats to Utah. They're going to the Rose Bowl. They'll probably play Ohio State in that game. And also, yesterday, it was a big win for UTSA. They got the win. They deserve it. And also, today, the MAC champions, Northern Illinois, congrats to them. They should be headed to a good bowl game. Cincinnati winning the American. They'll be headed to the college football playoff. I think Pitt won. Did Pitt win the ACC championship? I Yes, they did. So Pittsburgh, I believe, will be probably headed to the Peach Bowl. We'll see that tomorrow with an official announcement. But I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I assume they'll be headed to the Peach Bowl though. All right. So and then the other games today. I think this. I don't know who won the Sun Belt. I know it was a good game late. I just didn't see the end. It was between and Louisiana did win 24-16 over App State. So congrats to them. Another conference championship. But these other championships today, the three that were the headlines of the day. The first one, the Big 12 championship, it was a fun one. It was an all-time classic ending. Oklahoma State, big mistakes. They gave Baylor three great drives of field position. Baylor three touchdowns, and they deserve their spot in the playoff. Or they? I mean, neither team does. Sorry, but Baylor deserves the Big 12 championship, and they'll be headed to the Sugar Bowl on New Year's Day. So, congrats to Baylor. Oklahoma State will probably be headed out west to the Fiesta Bowl. That's what our bowl projections have put, or my bowl projections. You know, they're going to be wrong in some aspect, and I hope they are wrong because I'm not the greatest projector of bowl games, but I only did the New Year's Six, so trust me, I'm not good. All right, but again, that was an all-time classic ending. The uh, the running, it was fourth down and goal. The Oklahoma State running back runs towards the pylon just outside and is stopped really inside the 1 yard line. But a big play, and congrats to Baylor again winning the Big 12. All right, moving on to the SEC championship. This is the best we've seen out of Alabama all season. To be honest, this is an absolute dominant performance by Alabama's offense. The only problem is that Mechie, I believe, and many are believing that it's a torn ACL and he'll be out for the season, and that's a huge blow for Alabama, especially in a college football playoff where you're going to face third downs where you need to convert. It may not hurt them if they end up getting Cincinnati in the first round because I think they're other talent. But if they go to the national championship and face a Michigan, a Georgia, you're going to really miss a Mechie in that situation. So, but you're going to face third downs where you need to find a receiver, maybe someone that's less experienced will have to step in and you'll just have to deal with it. But again, a big blow for Alabama. But they dominated the SEC championship offensively. Defense, they gave Georgia some big points, but Georgia's a good football team. I just don't think they should be put on a pedestal ahead of everybody else just because they're undefeated up until today. So another big thing that took place was um, there wasn't a ton today, but there's and then the Big Ten championship. Iowa, they came out strong. A great first drive to start the game. They stopped Michigan early. They went down the field, and then really it all came down crashing from there. And congrats to Michigan. They go to the playoff. Um, and I mean, it ended up being 42-3. The final score. It was a dominant performance, really. But Iowa didn't play terrible to start in the first half. Just a couple of mistakes. Iowa could have been leading going to the break. But obviously, I think Michigan is the better football team, and I think that the Iowa had a lot of stuff that they needed to figure out, and they just couldn't do it all in 1 week. Now, I do think the Iowa team would be a favorable matchup if they were to get a Pac-12 team in the bowl game, but it's looking like they'll be headed to the Citrus Bowl and probably playing a good team out of the SEC. So it's another tough game for the Iowa Hawkeyes going forward in the next game. So let's talk about the playoff. Going into today, we're saying, well, could it be we could have some chaos if some certain things happen? If Oklahoma State were to win, Alabama were to win, Michigan were to win, Cincinnati were to win, one team would be out of those five. And, well, we didn't have to deal with that because Oklahoma State lost. So now we're down to these four teams. This is what's going to be in the playoff. This is going to be my top four. It's probably going to be wrong, but personally, the number one team in the nation right now, in my opinion, is the Michigan Wolverines. Some great wins on their resume right now. I mean, they beat Ohio State. That's a huge win. That's really arguably better than Notre Dame. I mean, but anyway, They lost to Michigan State. I mean, that's probably the best loss of any team other than Georgia. Georgia, of course, lost to Bama. But I'd say right now Michigan is the best team in the land. You could say Alabama's better, but currently I think Michigan deserves number one. But I think Alabama's better. So you know that you can dog it out, but I'll put Michigan at one, Bama two, um, and put Mich. Sorry, I'm really struggling here. Put put Michigan one, Bama two, Georgia three, and Cincinnati four. That's how I would put it, but how the committee's probably going to put it tomorrow: Bama one, Michigan two, Georgia three, and Cincinnati four. I think that they're going to avoid that Georgia Bama rematch, and there's only one way to do that, and that's put Bama against Cincinnati and put Georgia against Michigan. I mean, Michigan could end up being three and Georgia being two. I don't know, but I don't know how you can punish a team after beating. How can you punish Michigan after beating a top 15 team by 39 points? I mean, that's a tough thing to say and a tough thing to do, but personally, this will be an easy decision for this committee. And let's run through the bowls that'll end up being taking place. First of all, it will be the my bowl the college football playoff bowls. I think if it ends up being this and it ends up being Alabama number one, if Alabama Cincinnati takes place and Alabama would get a preference there, I think they would put that game in the Orange Bowl. So Alabama Cincinnati, that would probably be the early kickoff, which would be I believe a 2:30 kickoff on New Year's Eve. It's on ESPN. So Alabama Cincinnati would be that early kickoff for me in the Orange Bowl, and then I think the Cotton Bowl would be Michigan Georgia. That would be the primetime game on ESPN leading into your New Year's Eve festivities. So that would be a great matchups there. Now to the other New Year's Six games I have in the Peach Bowl. I have Pittsburgh, the ACC champions. They're guaranteed either the Peach Bowl or the Fiesta Bowl. I have them going against Michigan State. In the other New Year's Six bowls, the other at-large versus at-large, I have Oklahoma State taking on Notre Dame. In the Rose Bowl, I have Ohio State taking on Utah, and in the Sugar Bowl, I have Baylor taking on Ole Miss. Of course, Baylor's guaranteed to the Sugar Bowl, um, and Utah's guaranteed to the Rose Bowl at this point. So, not too much of a guessing game. I mean, this will be an easy day tomorrow for the committee. You could have a couple things with seeding, but in the end, I don't see them putting Bama Georgia as a semifinal, but they should because I think Georgia doesn't deserve to be the doesn't deserve to be um, up there as really the top dog in the nation. I think they deserve to be punished to some extent. That wasn't a great performance, and that's not. It wasn't a great performance today. They didn't look like the top team in the country. They looked very much less to an Alabama team. And I think Alabama, you can't all of a sudden they have one good game. So you can't say, oh, Alabama has one good game and all of a sudden they're the number one team in the country. And in the same sentence, you're going to say, oh, Georgia has one bad game. And oh, well, they won 12 games. Well, sure. I mean, a lot of teams could have won 12 games. I think if Michigan played that 12 game schedule, they probably would have gone at least 11-1 in that 12 game schedule. So, but you can say that Georgia was so dominant, they were so everything, but quite frankly, they hadn't played the competition that an Alabama, a Michigan had been playing. Even at Cincinnati, when they played Notre Dame, that's just one game, and And I know a lot of Group of Five teams play really one good team a season, and they try to put that out. And I mean, it's tough to say, but you know, it's hard to play in these big leagues when you're playing tough teams week in, week out. It's not just like top 15 teams. It's teams that are physical. It's teams that are tough up front, and that's what you'll see in the college football playoff. And really, so if these scenarios take place, I think Georgia, Michigan, each team has really struggled in their respective in their respective paths. I don't know who would. I know they'd favor Georgia, but I don't know who you give the edge to in that situation. It would be very interesting to see. But that's about it. All I've got for you. Again, it's going to be Georgia, Michigan, and Alabama, Cincinnati. That's really what it's going to be. You know, I put my money on Bama and put my money on Michigan plus the points. So I know this is a great performance, and I just think that the way we saw how slow Georgia looked in that game, I just don't see enough offensive playmakers. This Michigan defense is good, and they're going to shut down Georgia. But we'll talk about that in about what would it be? Just under 4 weeks from tonight, I believe. 3 weeks from Christmas, I believe. And then just under 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 days, 27 days from those semifinals.